Okay, welcome back everyone. We're doing another skate maintenance video today. I'm here with Chops.
Hello.
Ex-president of KCR.
Hello.
What we're looking at doing today is going over our skates. After a long-awaited COVID lockdown, we're finally allowed to go back to skate.
Yes, yay.
And I'm sure like many of you, your skates have been sitting there wasting away, or you've been doing a little bit of outdoor skating and you need to get back to your derby setups. So today we're going to go over a few things regarding maybe like an entry-level skate and a more advanced boot, and what we can do to make sure our skates are ready to hit the track again. You got anything else, Choppy, before we move on?
No, let's go.
All right, beautiful. I've set this skate up with a few things that we want to look at first of all, and later on I'll hold them up to the camera and zoom them in a little bit so we can go over each individual component. So the first thing you want to check, wheels. They're what hit the ground, that's what gives us our grip and can help us with speed, that sort of thing, and stability. I've got my outdoor wheels, as you can see. So today I'm going to change these back to my derby wheels, which are generally a little bit harder and yeah, better for control on the track. I'm not going to do it on the camera.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it.
I'll probably pause the video.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to do it then.
Yeah, I'll do a couple basic ones.
While you're talking about that, I will talk about this one. So, like Stevie said, so we've all had a little break. Everything's probably gone a bit smelly and a bit manky, so please just make sure you clean your boots and your bearings and your wheels, make sure everything's all right. We've spoken about it before, so there's different levels of wheels. These entry ones, they're the ones our rookies use. They've got really hard wheels on them, really slippery. If you do have something like that and you have been using your good indoor wheels outside, please give them a wipe down. You can wipe them with just a wet rag and clean them up. If you really want to be fussy, you can use methylated spirits and just clean all the dirt and stuff off. But just make sure, you know, that the bearings are clean. You haven't got hair hanging around and rubbish and, you know, all the manky stuff sort of hanging around. Just double check. Obviously, when you're outdoors, you might not have your toe stops as low as what you normally do. So just make sure they're not loose like these ones. Just check them over and make sure everything's all right. Stevie's changing his wheels, which is nice because he said he wasn't going to do it.
Okay, so whilst Chop was speaking, I've changed a couple of wheels here for you. Now I'll go over a couple of things we want to look at when we're doing that and how we're going to do it. So first thing, before you actually do any maintenance, you probably want to look around your house and see if you've got the tools required for the job. As you can see, we've got a couple of skate tools here. You don't need anything as fancy as these, but they come in many forms. Or you can use your basic tools around your house. So if you've got a socket set, which many of you may have at home, or a shifter, hold that up again, Choppy.
Oh, hold that one up.
A shifter, you can use them on your nuts if you really have to, or on your...
You said nuts.
The nuts on your plates.
Or you can use these, which you get with the new skates, which are average, but they will do the job. So the middle bit there is just for tightening the wheels up. It's basically just slip straight over like that, and you just turn them left or right, and that one does one of these and that one does something else at the front. So there's only 2 or 3, you can't miss it.
Okay, so obviously the socket, whatever our skate tool we have will be for our wheel nut. Okay, on my particular skate, instead of a kingpin, I have a hex head in here. So if you don't have the actual tool for the job, you may have some Allen keys lying around the house. They don't have to look that shiny or nice. Or these cheap little hex key sets you can buy from Bunnings for about $5, and it'll have the various sizes. You just make sure you get the ones you need for your particular skate. If you don't know the sizes, take your skate with you. Take it with you, try them out in the store, let the person know in the store what tool you're after. Can be a good way to make sure you got all you need. As you can see, I've changed a couple of wheels there. Roller derby wheels, generally a little bit smaller and harder, so you'll notice a big difference. So when you go back to derby, you know, give yourself a little bit of time to refamiliarise with the ride height and everything of your skate and how the wheels feel under your feet. Some of the other things you're going to notice that might have declined whilst you're doing your outdoor skating. Outdoor skating is a lot more vibration, so things can tend to come loose. So I'm going to come up to the camera now and show you a couple of things. We've got this nut just in here, which is one of my plate nuts, and you'll notice I can just move it with my finger. Generally after every skate session you want to touch each of these and see which ones are moving. If they're moving like that, you just need to get a small spanner, something around this size, and just tighten that up. Don't over tighten it. You can break them, just nice and firm so it's not loose.
It's probably one of the times in your life where you actually don't want vibrating nuts. You probably want your nuts tight, not vibrating.
Okay, moving on. Other times you might be able to see that they're loose. So under here I can see that the washer's got a little bit of movement, but you might not able to be able to move the nut. So there's another way to check. So it's always good just to go around, put the spanner on each of the nuts and just give it a slight turn and make sure they're nice and tight. Okay. So that's a quick and easy job to do. As I said, I'm not going to go over each of the wheels for you, but the wheels, when you are tightening them, make sure that you give them a little bit of a wiggle. If you've got them too loose, you'll notice I'll make this sort of sound. They're sliding back and forward on the axle. Yes. You want them down so that they're tight, so that there's no movement. Any moving parts will tend to wear a bit quicker. But you want just a small amount of click so that they're not over tightened. Okay, so that's not moving now, but there is a slight wobble in it. It means my wheel moves freely. If you over tighten your wheel, you'll notice your wheel doesn't turn, okay? And if you do over tighten them, you can potentially break the bearings or damage the bearings. So make sure you just take your time, just small little turns till you get the tension just right.
Well, if you actually over tighten your wheels, it's actually called stepping, not skating, because you can't actually roll. So try my best. I'm here all week.
Something you might notice with this skate that's different is the toe stop. So on my particular skate, which is the skate I use at Derby, I have a small hex key or Allen key bolt tightening mine up. If you want to check it, just grab the toe stop, rotate it. If it doesn't move, it's generally pretty good. On this particular skate, we have what's called a locking nut. Okay, these things can be a little bit problematic because they tend to lose their tension quite easily and will rotate. And as you can see with rotating the toe stop, this one's loose. Okay, before we go and tighten it, we want to get the height right. So we push the skate down, have a look how much distance we've got here. A good indicator is about 2 to 3 fingers underneath your rear wheels. If it's up too high, it means you'll be up on your tippy toes and you'll be actually overbalanced. So we want to make sure we get that out a little bit. Okay, we've got just above 3 fingers there. That's about 3 fingers now. So once we're happy with that height, we hold the toe stop in place, and yourself or a friend might grab a spanner like this, or they might use a shifter if you've got one big enough. But we'll just use our special spanner that we've got here, and you just
like that. Is that how it goes, Steve?
That's it. And just a couple of turns, get it nice and tight, nice and firm. Beautiful. That's nice and firm now. Making sure that when you do go to training, you bring your tools along with you, because you'll probably find after, a couple of sessions, or maybe even after the first half hour of your session, that some things have come loose again, just while they're finding their place, their sort of seating, we call it. So you may need to go over them during your first session. Okay, on this particular skate, it's a different style truck. This one has what's called butterfly cushions and rotates on a different sort of plane, which is sort of unique to this boot. However, majority of you will have a truck similar to this, and this is where we have our kingpin. This kingpin is held on with a nylock nut, which is one that can't come undone. And if you do have a similar skate tool to this, you should have one that's the right size. There we go, got the right one there. We just tighten that up or loosen it off. And what this does, it applies pressure down to the cushions. The cushions. The tighter you tighten this nut, the more pressure you put on these cushions. If you over tighten them, however, the cushions aren't able to perform their job properly. So make sure you don't over tighten them too much. If you are finding that your skates are a bit too wobbly, so when you put your feet on them and you can wobble left to right too easily, you may need to look at upgrading your cushions. That's the sort of thing that I'd recommend talking to your friends and fellow skaters at your league at your next training session about, and see if anyone has anything they may be able to lend you or something that they can give you. Alrighty, but that's a pretty easy one. As long as these parts aren't sort of slipping, have gaps between them, or are wobbly by hand, then you're fine. Okay.
These boots are actually pretty good. Like they're basic. They're a basic boot. They're a good price. They're fairly cheap. And as you get better, the one thing you change is obviously your wheels, because these are a hard plastic. They're not like a nylon like Stevie was talking about. And you can change these cushions, which change the way that you move your feet, the way that you skate, and then the rest of it's fine. You can change your toe stop. Some people like blocks, which are really big at the front, which I noticed Crusher's got a new pair. It looks like she's got half a house on the front. So it all comes down to the individual. So if you do look at changing wheels, please just don't go and buy wheels. Talk to some of the members, talk to Stevie, talk to X or whoever. Try some wheels out. Some people might have wheels you can try, because different weight, different height, different skating styles means that you use a different wheel. But once you get half decent and you start getting into a section where you're comfortable with your skating, the wheels are the first thing to change, because these hard plastic ones have got no grip whatsoever. But there's a multitude of wheels. So. And
as Chops mentioned, borrowing them tends to be the best way, because a set of wheels like this, for instance, may set you back about $100, $140.
200 now.
200. So it's an expensive investment. However, they completely change your derby experience. So whilst they're an important part, I suggest you try and use the resources around you to sort of overcome that financial burden in the beginning, and find something that suits you. If your bearings, if your wheels, between your outdoor wheels and your derby wheels, you've only got the one set of bearings, you may have been wondering how to change them out. Some of you may have tools, some of you may have been getting your friends to do them. We'll show you a couple of ways you can do it. So we have what's called a bearing press. All right, they're a little bit pricey, but they tend to be something, again, that most members of your league will have a couple of will have one, and they can lend to you, or they can do it at the training session when you're there. This one has a nice little hook on the end, so you just hook it inside your bearing, lock it in place, and just push down, and it pulls the bearing out like so.
Can I have a look at your bearing?
Yeah. We do have
look at that.
a more base model bearing removal. It's just a handheld one. Just has a little thumb press to help engage the little pins here. You just push into the bearing, and then with a little bit of muscle and effort and a little bit of rotation, you'll be able to pull them out like so.
Does everyone have gold bearings, or is that just you?
That's just me. Yeah.
Well, Stevie has gold bearings. I've never seen that before.
That was a gift from a sheik.
That's what happens when you're a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. Do you want to put them back in? Do you want to show people the reversal?
So when you want to put it back in, with this particular one, you just put it in place, close, rest it on a nice firm surface, apply pressure, and pop, in it goes. If you are using a wheel with a plastic hub like this one, they tend to go in quite easily. However, some of you might have cushions, wheels that have a metal inner or metal hub, which I don't actually have with me right now to show you, but they tend to be a lot more difficult to insert. So if you are unsure, please see someone at the league, because you can damage the wheels. And as I said, at $200 a set, it's not the sort of thing that you want to sort of take for granted and damage. With this particular press, just to reinstall the bearing, you slide your wheel into place, you slide your bearing, and you lock it in. With this, it tends to be much easier for installing cushions so that you can't damage the wheel, because everything's sort of lined up. That's it. Installing the bearings, put it in place, press. How easy is that? So, little muscle involved. However, with any bearings, you tend to find that once you install them on your skate and putting the bearings in, returning them to your skate, you'll find within 10 to 15 minutes you'll start to feel that wobble. So again, I encourage you to have the tools with you to tighten your wheel nuts up again after some usage. I don't know, apart from the basic things, you've got your laces. If you've damaged them, please make sure you try and replace them. Okay, if your foot's not stable within your boot, that's something that's just going to lead to injury and reduce your overall experience when skating. And that's it.
Perfect. If anything, just carry like Glen 20 with you. Finish a session, spray your boot, try and keep it clean. Obviously through COVID, we're going to have our COVID protocols, so we just want to make sure that everyone's clean, especially after 12 months of not skating. It's going to be there's going to be a few manky skates around, so please clean your gear before you get to training. Hang on a sec. Co, make sure you wash your gear. Anyway, thanks for that. Thanks, yes, turd. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you all out on the track.
Cheers, big ears. Beautiful.
I hope I bless your crawled.